This week, coming up from the ashes.
They put Kevin Bacon in the MCU.
The song "I Don't Know What Christmas Is," like,
yeah,
that's my favorite Christmas song now. It's so good, and them kidnapping Kevin Bacon is the greatest thing.
Freaking Drax! Oh my gosh, he is a gem too. I'm sorry, Dave Bautista is a gem when it comes to that. Like, he plays Drax so perfect. I can't imagine anybody else playing that character ever.
Oh yeah.
But now that we spent about 18 minutes on the first one.
There we go. That spiraled out of control, but yeah.
That's the episode. That's the episode right there.
Thanks, everybody.
Infinity
Have a good
War
week.
Was an absolute mind boggle. And then Endgame was also not on par with it, but it definitely was the same. Man, you ever just get done with a game or a movie that endings that leave you absolutely slack-jawed? I know I do. That's what we're here for. Welcome to From the Ashes podcast. I'm your host, Arsonist Clown. The date is June 3rd. Monday, of course. I hate Mondays. Anyways, I'm here with not a full party, but content and very lively party here with my two buddies, Flerp and Phoenix. Hey everybody, how you guys holding up there?
Sup?
Doing good in the chains?
I'm doing pretty good. Garfield. How are you?
Yeah.
Great. Where's my lasagna, John?
I was thinking that.
Where's my fucking lasagna, John?
I'm doing all right, man. Just hanging out with my buds and ready to talk about endings that made us just like, what? Dumbfounded us. Whatever.
Yep. Anything's game here. Games, movies, hell, even books, comics. I don't know. Whatever floats your boat. We're here to talk about it, more or less.
Whatever flirps your derp.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever floats your derp.
That's what we're gonna say now. From now on, instead of float your boat, whatever flirps your derp.
So very poor show running, but how are we gonna do this? You want to go one at a time, or do we want to like do one and then the other, and then we come back around? What's your?
I mean, yeah, we can start with one and then move around. That's fine.
All right. In that case, I will go first.
Ooh,
and
all right.
I will bring out a very common a movie that basically nearly everybody's seen, and that probably nobody expected that what happened, and that is the infamous Avengers Infinity War.
Okay. Yeah, we were just talking about that a little bit ago. So
Wait, are we talking about Infinity War or are we talking about Endgame?
No, we're talking Infinity War.
Because
Endgame
both of those had some fucky things happen.
Yeah, I mean, Endgame had its things, but like I think Infinity War hit more because Thanos won.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody really expected that. Less like half of the heroes being wiped out. Like nobody was left. It was such a shock, man. I was like, wait, huh? That actually happened? I didn't break down into tears when Spider-Man got fucking turned into an ashtray, but like
When he turned into an ashtray?
I was just
That
like,
hurts.
whoa, he actually did it? Oh man. That's pretty nutty.
For me, what was even more dumbfounding about that is all the fan theories that the reason why he was the only one that like felt it happening was because his spidey sense was telling him something was wrong. And it's like, oh no.
To be fair,
Like, can you imagine being turned to dust and having an anxiety that you can't turn off?
To be fair, what he said to Tony really got me. I was like, ugh!
I don't want to go. No,
I don't want to go. Too bad. Get your ass in the car.
That was pretty heart-wrenching, but it wasn't like I wasn't like in tears like the people like I don't know a couple rows above and below me.
mean,
I was
Spider-Man's
just
my
like,
favorite Marvel character, you know. So
yeah, me too. But like, I was more confused and just awestruck than I was like,
yeah,
sad about it. I was like, man, that's a ballsy move. You really didn't.
yeah. Well, of course you do. Like, there's some way somehow they had to bring them back. Like
Well,
had
yeah.
to.
I mean, it was gonna happen, but like
Yeah.
at the time when I was like when I was walking out of the theater, I was like, how the fuck are they gonna fix this?
You're not wrong. That
How
that
is this
was,
gonna work?
but yeah. But when you couple that with Endgame, like there's some crazy moments in both. You know, um, things that you didn't think would actually happen. But
So how'd you feel? How'd you feel after Star Lord fucked up the plan?
To be completely honest, Star-Lord fucking up the plan made me hate Chris Pratt as an actor.
but hold on, did it really surprise you with Star Lord the way
No,
he?
it didn't necessarily surprise me, but for an eternity afterwards, I wouldn't watch anything with Chris Pratt in it because I was like, fuck this guy.
Did you walk to the Mario movie with like a scowl on your face or something?
Well, we got to the theater to see the Mario movie. We were the only ones in there, and I was like, "Oh, I can't wait for Chris Pratt to come on screen and just be like, it's a me, Mario."
I think we're gonna be like, well, he's gonna mess up the situation now. Peach is gonna be in trouble, and he's gonna do something stupid.
Where's my brother Luigi?
Where's
Yeah,
where's
where's Luigi?
Where's Luigi at?
No, yeah, the second Star Lord fucked up the plan. I was like, oh no, this is where
Yeah.
it goes downhill.
I will be honest though, and if just kind of on topic, I did actually love the Super Mario Brothers movie. It was phenomenal.
It was
It was
very good.
fantastic, and I can't wait to see the
Except for
Garfield
Seth
movie.
Rogen and his dumb fucking laugh.
Yeah,
As Donkey
it's
Kong.
Donkey
I
Kong.
hate that.
I
Yeah,
didn't
like
do it right.
I was so like, at first I was like, oh, this is pretty neat. And then he did the dumb fucking laugh, and I was like, God damn it.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that was yeah. I don't even know what to say to that because yeah, his laugh was just bad. Like not it didn't fit Donkey Kong. Let's just say that.
It was still a very very fine movie, but
Oh, I agree.
yeah,
I
back
agree.
back to Infinity War. Like yeah, just like Thanos absolutely mollywopping the shit out of the team on Titan, and then after doing that, nearly killing Tony, and then just leaving them there to soak in the defeat.
Yeah.
And then he shows up in Wakanda, and then I'm just like, yep, it's wraps.
Can I
Yeah.
just point out the fact that Thor totally fucked that entire situation?
Like,
Like,
it was like, where was he while like everybody else was running towards him that were weaker? Like, was he like still fighting the army or something? He had all that time to go and wrap him up before he could get the final stone. But he shows
yeah,
up
but like,
after he grabs it.
he could have thrown that axe anywhere else and made it a kill shot, but no. He had to throw it at, like, the center of his chest. Like, bro, you didn't hit anything vital. He's not gonna die right away.
I
Like,
mean, he did tell him he should have gone.
Yeah, he did say that.
He did
but
say
I
that.
won't lie, though. Thor did know that it was his fault. And I'm happy that it gave us fat alcoholic Thor because
Oh my gosh.
I related to fat alcoholic Thor. So, like,
I just found out something about Thor in that situation. Did you know why they gave him gloves? To hide the fat suit.
oh yeah.
That's why. They seriously, that's what I found out. Like, are you serious? They with all the CGI you just couldn't like cut it out, I mean, but I
You
just thought it
mean
was
to
funny.
tell me that they made 2 Big Mama's House movies And they could hide the fat suit on Martin Lawrence, but they couldn't do it on Chris Hemsworth.
I think it was just a cheap fix, and you got to see Thor wearing gloves. I don't know, but yeah, big daddy, big daddy Thor. we'll say instead of Big Mama, Big Daddy
You
Thor.
mean the Big Lebowski?
Yeah, that too. He's still that. Oh, let's just say how much of a gem he is as Thor, though.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very much.
But
I
I'm
do
just
like
saying.
when he was more serious, though.
Yeah.
More serious Thor. Goofy Thor isn't bad, but like, it's not really accurate Thor. Thor is definitely more stoic and serious and all that, but he still
Except
has
for-
like a bit of like a
Yeah, but the
goofy
problem
personality.
is I think I think in Hollywood, I think they're too scared to make movies like serious and stoic, and I feel like they just feel like every movie needs comedic relief, which is why we got that absolute disaster that was Love and Thunder.
I gotta say though,
hold on.
them fighting the shadows wasn't bad though. I like that scene a lot.
Oh, that wasn't bad, but like I'm not gonna lie. So they start the movie with the screaming goats, a meme that died in 2000. Yeah, but a meme that died in what, 2009? Like,
Jeez, Phoenix, you're too easily pleased.
Oh, I made that my freaking ringtone. Okay.
Oh man, you're really easily pleased.
Oh, that was so hilarious.
oh, like I'm not gonna lie, I laughed my ass off in the theater, but like it just led up to an entire movie of like, oh, okay, like, oh, so you turning into Lady Thor's giving you more cancer. Okay, like I don't know. It was just like you can't just like put Natalie Portman in a movie and then just be like, you're gonna get a lot of cancer really fast.
Yeah.
Like your superpower is literally getting more cancer.
Yeah. To be fair though, that was kind of, like a shocking thing as, with her and dying in the movie and all that
Oh, I mean,
stuff.
yeah, I mean, obviously we knew she was gonna die.
Yeah.
But
well, yeah, but even the reveal, like knowing that she was gonna die, you're not ready for it, So,
yeah.
But like, yeah. So I mean, I think Infinity War had some really grim parts and stuff like that. But that's like I know this isn't the ending, but when Gamora died,
Or when Black Widow died.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that. I didn't want to talk about that.
That was the hard one because that was best friend and best friend fighting over which one of them gets to die.
Right. And she's like, of course she trumps him. You have a kid. You have a family. Like, shoot. What about Bruce? Huh? He's your boyfriend in the MCU?
Was,
yeah.
They never picked that up after Age of Ultron.
I know, but still, they never broke up, so I just assumed they were still together.
I don't think they were ever together to begin with.
Well, in my heart, they were.
I think the signs were there, but they never
Yeah.
officially made it.
Oh, are we talking about? What are we talking about?
The Hulk and
freaking Hulk and Widow.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think the signs were there, but like, I don't think it would ever like, how would that even work? Like, I mean, I understand that he's got a human form, but like, what happens to be like, because when Bruce Banner feels pain, the Hulk will take over and make it so like, and he doesn't always necessarily have control over it. So like,
I know where you're going
like,
with this.
Yeah, no, let's cut the cover.
What if he like holds his back during the middle of it? Like,
She's gonna die of extreme pleasure. Let's just say that. You just hollowed out the Black Widow.
It's like the conversation in Mallrats, where Brody's having the conversation with Stan Lee and just asking all these questions.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I love it
That
when we
is
were
so
talking about Love and Thunder a bit. I know we didn't mention it, but I'm gonna mention it now. The terrible CGI of the kid projecting himself.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Look, if you want to talk terrible CGI, that's great compared to The Flash. And I don't even want to talk about that movie. I just figured I'd bring that up.
Ooh, yeah, no.
yeah,
Just saying.
I feel like I feel like they kind of set themselves up for failure a little bit. I feel like Marvel as a whole did, with Avengers and well, Avengers was great. Age of Ultron was a movie. Infinity War was great, and Endgame was great. But I feel like outside of that, I feel like they kind of shot themselves in the foot because it's hard to top. Um, there hasn't been anything like super dumbfounding or like speechless moments that have happened since, except for in except in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, where Star-Lord finally drops an
Her
F-bomb.
Oh, yeah.
That
Open
was
the fucking door.
yeah. What do I do now? Open the fucking door. Like, it was the way that they implemented that one F-bomb that they were allowed to have was so well done. And in my opinion, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is probably the best Marvel movie I've ever seen.
I was
Even though I hate,
terrified when I was terrified. I thought they were gonna kill Rocket off, man.
I
was
did
really-
too.
like, I'm not gonna lie, I cried during some of the baby rocket scenes.
Yeah.
Like,
That was so. Oh man, that really tugged at the heartstrings, especially when the poor. I forgot what her name was, but the weasel, when she got freaking killed because they were planning to escape, and just Rocket just like screaming, just standing. That was like, whoa. And then the jackass was like, "Ah, ah," like fucking mimicked his crying.
Yeah. That look, just to tell you, Flerp, I feel I don't even look at Guardians of the Galaxy as separate movies. I think of them as a whole. And I do that because I love the first and second one so much. And the Guardians of the Galaxy are the best series of Marvel, like outside of
yeah,
like the
easily.
Avengers. But even putting the Avengers together, I still think it's better. Like they are my favorite movies. All Volume 1, 2, and 3. They are my favorite. And I thought it was kind of funny the way they did Ego, but in the second one, but
The only thing that I didn't really like about the third one is they kind of made Adam Warlock a bitch.
yeah.
Like, Adam Warlock is
He could held the gun to the poor dogs. Don't be hasty.
Don't be hasty.
Oh, wait, I don't think it was don't be hasty. I think it was don't be rash.
Don't be rash.
My-
Yeah.
My favorite thing, though, is they did at least do one thing right, and they kept Cosmo Russian. And I was so happy about that.
Yeah.
Oh, the dog.
Yeah.
I just love those movies as a whole. Like, I haven't watched them in a while, and I need to go back and watch them. Even the Christmas episode, I love all of them.
Oh, the Christmas episode. Dude, that's...
Kevin Bacon, dude. That was so great. They put Kevin Bacon in the MCU.
The song, I Don't Know What Christmas Is, like,
yeah.
that's my favorite Christmas song now. It's so good. And them kidnapping Kevin Bacon is the greatest thing.
Freaking Drax. Oh my gosh. He is a gem too. I'm sorry. Dave Bautista is a gem when it comes to that. Like, he plays Drax so perfect. I can't imagine anybody else playing that character ever.
Oh, yeah.
But now that we spent about 18 minutes on the first one.
Oh yeah, there we go. That spiraled out of control, but yeah.
That's the episode. That's the episode right there.
Thanks everybody.
Infinity
Have a good
War
week.
Was an absolute mind boggle, and then Endgame was also not on par with it, but it definitely was the same with like.
The Guardians of the Galaxy game, the Guardians of the Galaxy video game, by the way. Just want to say it's one of the best things I've ever played in my life. So
I've never played it yet.
If you haven't
I would
played
love
it,
to.
do it.
I played through
Flerp's
Avengers.
recommendation of the day.
Yeah, I played through the Avengers and I enjoyed that.
Are you like one of those? Are you the toothpaste doctors? 9 out of 10 certified.
No, like honestly,
Certifiable.
I'm being 100% honest. The Guardians of the Galaxy video game is it's one of the best things I've ever played. Out of any superhero video game, it's the best one you'll ever play.
I've got it free on Epic, so
A bold claim.
I would love to play it. It's just time, you know. I got a lot of stuff before
It's
it that I need to finish and get done.
it's time that you need to make. If I could tell you one thing, it's time you need to make.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack is amazing.
It better be. It's a Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's
I wouldn't
exactly what
expect
you think it would
anything
be.
Yeah. What'd you say,
Except they
Arson?
wrote an entire heavy metal album for the game as well.
Oh dang. That
But
sounds
yeah,
fantastic.
there we go. That closing statements though. Man, you really just had to be there. You know, I mean, for both Endgame and Infinity War, like you just like that was like I didn't even know it yet, but that was like history right there. Like just
Yeah.
sitting in the theater with everybody. Like nothing like that will happen for a long time. Probably
Yeah.
not even ever again. But man, it was an event. And people were there for it, and it was just awesome. I'll never
I
forget.
hate to say it, but we need to stop because if we don't, we're just gonna keep going, and this is gonna become a Marvel episode.
Oh,
Yeah,
I will,
that's why I said closing statement. You know, you just had to be there. That's it. You know,
I will say
absolutely
this.
jaw dropping ending all around.
I went to see Endgame in theaters twice. So yeah. Anyways,
That's how good it was.
that's how
Y'all
good it
just
was.
want to
Yeah.
change the y'all just want to change the topic and keep going on Marvel because we're on a roll.
We are on a roll, but no, let's move on.
Yeah,
Um,
that's. I'm so glad I could pick such a
I feel-
ball busting topic there.
I feel like we should because I feel like the beginning of this episode is gonna be so strong, followed by a bunch of mid tier.
Hold on, then I'll go next. I will say the next
ahead.
movie, okay?
Go
My,
ahead.
Go ahead.
my movie, I mentioned a Flerp, and I was gonna say something else, but I feel like in line with like comic book and cartoons and stuff like that, I'm gonna say one that shocked me was the ending of the Scooby Doo movie, and it's the first one when
The live action.
yeah
Okay.
when Shaggy, oh not Shaggy, when Scrappy was revealed as the bad guy.
You're never gonna let this go, man.
No, I'm not. But
Ever
I mean,
since
it was a big
game.
shock because I didn't see that coming. Did you?
I mean, I didn't really even know who Scrappy was.
Oh,
jeez. That's how good they were at scrubbing.
They were good at scrubbing
I
him.
never even knew who he was. Like, I think I remember like the old the old movies with like Red Shirt Shaggy, Scooby,
Yeah.
you know, Scrappy. I think I remember that.
Yeah.
But then when I saw him again, I'm like, wait, who's this guy again?
Yeah, who's this little guy?
Who is this guy? Wasn't he a good guy? What?
Like, love that his entire origin backstory, his like villain backstory, was getting kicked out of the van for pissing on Daphne.
Right. Yeah. He's a puppy, of course.
Nobody pees on Daphne.
He's like, he's not even a puppy. He was like, he's an old dog or whatever. I can't remember what they said, but yeah, that upset me that they turned Scrappy into this villain character, and I was just like,
Yeah.
you gotta be kidding me.
Oh, I mean, it was a ballsy move, I gotta say.
Yeah, it was. Like, I
I
think
mean,
they got
there's,
a
like-
lot of backlash off that too, but they also got a lot of I don't care. So
The small percent. Yes, I always hated Scrappy. Just absolutely. Oh man, I don't know.
Scrappy
Does
was
that
a
really
jackass.
count as an ending though?
I think so. I mean, if you want me to go a different way, then I can say the village.
That was more like a plot twist than it was like, you know.
It
an
was
ending.
more of a plot twist, but the village is the one that really got me on the ending. Like that they weren't back in old times and that they did everything to hide. Like M. Night Shyamalan, man, his movies do have that like huge twist at the end. Like wow.
Yeah, he's always gotta, you know, twist your brain and then
Yeah,
fiddle around with it a bit, shove it back in your cranium.
But when the village came out, you weren't expecting that, you know? So you got stuff like that and what's the other one? Sixth Sense. You know, like holy cow, Sixth Sense messed me up. I was like, Wait a minute, he's been dead the whole time? Are you serious? Like, oh, jeez. But
Oh
yeah,
my god.
so yeah, that the Sixth Sense is one for me, and you know, you got all these other ones too that just really come at you hard. To be fair, Fight Club was a big one for me because I had I had no idea, and usually I'm good at like guessing stuff in movies, but that movie messed me up to the point where I had no idea what was going on. Talk about a twist into a movie for the ending. Like, have you got Arson? Have you seen Fight Club? Right?
I've seen clips. I haven't actually seen the whole movie.
It was brilliant the
Yes,
way they
yes.
did that. You know, just to see, you know, that there was no Brad Pitt. there was no Brad Pitt. Like, are you serious? Like, holy cow! Like the whole movie just like messed with me bad. But yeah, I don't know. I could sit there and talk about all these different ones in
Yeah,
movies,
you like
especially.
talked about like 3 to 4 movies now.
I gotta catch up. You know, we spent like it's only fair. What like 18 minutes on Infinity War, 7 minutes on 4 other movies. But
Well,
I'll pass it to Flirt and I'll let him do one.
yeah, go ahead, Flerp. Let's
I'll go
hear
ahead.
it.
I'll go ahead and I'll do one. Um, so just one that really kind of caught me off guard. How many of y'all have played BioShock Infinite?
Oh, that was one of mine. You got me
Um,
nicely. That's an
so
excellent choice. Excellent choice.
so BioShock Infinite, you know, you start off and you're on a quest. You play as this guy named Booker DeWitt. You hate this guy named Comstock. He's a dickbag. And the entire game, Elizabeth is with you, and like you finally make it to the end of the game, and you find out that you're him. And I about shit my pants. I had never had such a plot twist thrown at me, or done so well because it did a very good job of not telling you until it was time. Um, and it was how do I put it? I don't know. Like I just it kind of left me speechless, especially if you played the DLCs for it, and you find out that like Booker DeWitt is the reason why Elizabeth doesn't have her finger. Like, or if you play the other route, or if you play a, you know, a different cutscene, why she wouldn't exist at all. But you know
Yeah,
what I'm
let me
talking about, Arson?
yeah, let me simplify this in and the listeners and probably Phoenix. Well, definitely Phoenix because Phoenix has absolutely no idea what you just
I have no idea. I've never played it, so I have no idea.
It's dude, it's
Okay.
so bad that I don't even know how to talk about it. So please do.
Yeah, since I've played the game like well over 10 times and you know all that, completed the game 100% in it and all. So Booker DeWitt, our protagonist, you know, voiced by our beloved Troy Baker.
Troy Baker.
You know, he starts the game in a in a rowboat with these twins that are, you know, guiding him to a lighthouse where he's supposed to find a girl and wipe away his debt. You know, that
As one
iconic
does.
line. So he goes to the lighthouse, bam, things happen. He ends up in the flying city of Columbia. He ends up running into the girl that he's looking for, Elizabeth. You know, and through many trials and tribulations, they also run into Comstock, which is, you know, the glorious, you know, prophet, and I guess supposed leader of Columbia and all. You know, heads are butt, moralities are tested, things happen. Later on, you find out the twins who brought you in the first place are basically a kind of a paradox. The twins are actually the same person, but from I guess a different dimension, timeline, whatever. It's been a while. I don't know much about the twins, but yeah, they brought you there for a reason. Um, and you know, turns out that Elizabeth is Booker's daughter, who, at you know, unbeknownst to Booker because he forgot, he gave her away um, to wipe away his debt, which is
Mm-hmm.
unironically what you're doing again. And you have a flashback scene at the end of the game where you are giving Elizabeth, who was Anna originally, um, to Comstock, which is another version of Booker, who at the end of Wounded Knee, I think it was like a war, some kind of war. I forgot what it was, but it was a war, and he gave his daughter to him. But at the last second, he wanted to get her back, but kind of late because they got her through the portal, and while struggling to pull her back to the other side, uh, Elizabeth reached out a hand to Booker while she was being taken and the portal was closing, and it severed her pinky finger. And she got special powers from that. She could open tears into different dimensions and timelines or whatever. And that's basically how she can do what she does, and how just crazy shit like Columbia and all that is even possible.
By being an amputee.
Yep. And Comstock and Booker are the same guy, but Booker doesn't realize this till the end. So he kills Comstock, and after destroying the tower that was hindering Elizabeth's powers, uh, she fully embraces her potential and sends them out. And while they're exploring the infinite timelines and dimensions, Booker's just like, well, let's just kill Comstock while he's a baby. That
Yep.
is literally, he literally says, I'm gonna smother the son of a bitch in his crib. And Elizabeth's like, are you really sure you want to do this? And he's like, yeah, gotta make sure he doesn't hurt you ever again and all that. So they go to a certain point in Booker's life, and this is where it differentiates Comstock and Booker. Um, After the Battle of Wounded Knee, he's done really terrible shit, and he's traumatized and guilt-ridden and very bitter. So he goes to like a Baptist place where like a river where they're like baptizing people, and this is where it plays out the two scenarios. In one scenario, Booker doesn't take the baptism. He goes off and he's still the same as ever, bitter, cold. He opens up his own detective agency, a private detective and all that. And in the other, he accepts the baptism and comes out as the righteous and very, very flawed Comstock. And that leads to that whole thing. And that's the twist at the very end, because Booker has to die if he
Hmm.
wants to kill Comstock as a concept. And all these different Elizabeths from different timelines show up to let you know that you are Comstock. And Booker finally realizes what has to happen, and he gets drowned by the Elizabeths in the river. And it ends like that, with all the different Elizabeths disappearing, with our original Elizabeth being the last one left. And after that happens and the credits are rolling, you're left absolutely dumbfounded, but they just kick you in the balls one last time, with Booker waking up in, his room in the private detective room, and then he goes to check in the room where his daughter is, but we don't know if she's there. And it's kind of left like that, ambiguous, as like left really to your interpretation, if she was there or maybe not. Maybe the cycle's continuing, I don't know. But that's it. But as an even bigger plot twist, they add two DLCs, Burial at Sea, which take place back in our favorite original city, Under the Sea. And that's a whole different thing as well. But it also wraps up the endings for Booker, Elizabeth, and I guess the whole franchise in general, because it leads back to the beginning of the series. And
Hmm.
man, it is a whole journey. I'm just telling you. Like, I'm like, telling you this is one thing. And sure, you may be spoiled and all that now, but I swear to you,
The game's
experiencing
been
it
out
for
for like
yourself is a whole
ever.
different thing. Yeah, the game's been out basically, like, the whole series has been wrapped up since like 2013. Like, you're not
Yeah, there
really.
are no
Yeah.
spoilers anymore.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, like, even now, after I told you basically a huge part of that, I would still recommend playing it, because it's just man, it is a mind screw. It is a whole trip from start to finish. And man, just after the credits are done and you're just back in the main menu where it's just playing the ambiance of Colombia in the main menu, you're just left with a feeling of damn,
Yeah.
damn. What now? And that's it. There you go,
Which is
Phoenix.
funny too, because a lot of people didn't like Bioshock Infinite.
Yeah, compared to 1 and 2, it is the black sheep, but I still love it all the same.
I
It
think
is
2
fantastic.
sucked, but
Oh, really? It wasn't that bad. I love 2. Just not as
I didn't
much
think
as
it was as good as
1 and
I didn't
Infinite.
think it was good as I don't think it was as good as
Well,
1
see,
and
now
Infinite.
now I don't have to play it, so I
Yeah, you
appreciate
do.
you. That's pretty good. I do have a couple games on my list too, but we can come back to that a little bit later. But yeah, that sounds like a pretty big twist. A big
It is a huge
what
twist.
the twist.
And I'm surprised I actually recounted it in a somewhat digestible script, even though I
Mm.
don't have one. But
So
yeah, I guess crap, it's back to me.
it is
even
back
though
to you.
even though I explained all of that. Um
You did that willingly because you're a Bioshock freak.
I
So
am yeah, I'm an absolute I'm a menace when it comes to that series, man.
uh-huh.
But
So
yeah, surprisingly, while I was in the middle of that whole rant, I did come up with another ending that left me absolutely awestruck. And I think you might already know what what I mean when I tell you the name of the movie, The
I'm
Mist.
ready. Okay.
Oh, here we go.
You know this, Phoenix, right?
So I've never seen The Mist.
Oh man, all right, Flerp. I think you should take this one since I helped you with the Infinite there.
Oh, but
Do you?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, I'll spare you then.
Oh,
Okay,
it's rough, dude. Like it's such a good movie, but
it is.
it's such a rough
Yeah,
ending.
that ending was absolutely soul crushing.
Yeah, that was probably out of anything that's ever happened ever the most soul-crushing ending to a film ever.
So I will say this: when I was doing some research and thinking, Mist Mist popped up on several lists that were number one.
There's a reason why it is.
I kind of figured that. See, we were talking to Z right before, and that's what she was saying about the Mist, and I was like, I've never seen that. I guess I need to watch it now. But go
You need
ahead.
to watch the movie, and you also need to watch the show. The show was really good too, even though it got canceled.
Hmm.
Okay, but oh jeez. All
So
right, so
rolls into town, right?
so this strange mist comes into town. Um, and our protagonist, I think it was like a father and his son, right?
Yeah.
Um, so they go into this supermarket. It's to shop, do all that crap. And this mist comes in, and this mist harbors very, very dangerous entities that are picking off the unfortunate bastards caught outside. And also for the unfortunate guys inside the supermarket, the mist doesn't really just stop with the outside. There are different entities that try to go in. I forgot what they mostly are. The things I do remember are like the spiders that shoot the acid webs. That was a really terrible one.
Oh
And
yeah. The
the
octopus thing on the
yeah,
outside.
the tentacle that dragged the dude outside.
Yeah,
It
but
was
also ripped an entire chunk of his skin out just by touching him.
Yeah, because like the tentacle split and it had like all those like really
Teeth. Yeah, those
yeah
teethers.
the teeth suction cups. But yeah, they're trying to survive against all these different kinds of monsters. And the guy and his son end up with I think 3 different survivors. It was like an elderly couple and another woman, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so like they're trying to escape and they do barely, but in a car. They escaped the supermarket. They haven't escaped the mist, and they got the car going. The poor, what was it? The clerk, the shopping guy, he sacrificed himself so they could get away.
Yep.
But yeah, they go on the car and they're going. But as if the most unluckiest thing happens and their car runs out of gas and they're just left stranded in the mist, even more screwed than before because now they're basically to their knowledge they're out in the open road. Um, if anything wants to just go up and check out what's going on, they're as good as dead. So as an act of mercy, the main character kills all of the people in the car, including his son, and he kills them with a gun, with a revolver. So he used all the bullets on them, and he couldn't kill himself because he mercy killed everybody else, and there's no more bullets for him. So he just goes out into the open, ready to accept his fate, and he's just waiting. And all of a sudden, the mist starts clearing, and the military is rolling through, killing the monsters, and they just check up on him while he's left there on his knees, screaming. And that's how the
Oh
film ends.
my goodness. I have seen this. Thomas Jane was the main character.
Like
Yes, I
that,
believe so.
I think I pushed this out of my mind.
I could never imagine
Why?
myself in
Because
that
it's the
situation.
saddest thing that's ever happened.
Sam Witwer was in that too. And if you guys don't know
Like-
who Sam Witwer is, he's now a notable voice actor. But he was on he played in Smallville as the human form of Doomsday. So like anyways, that I have seen this movie. Oh my
But yeah,
gosh.
that is such a soul-wrenching ending. Like literally, not even a couple minutes after the deed is done. It is
It's also
so
got the
terrible.
Shermanator in it.
Oh my
The
gosh.
Shermanator.
Yeah,
Chris
good old
Owens.
Shermanator.
But yeah, that is the mist.
Wow, I completely blocked that out. I have seen it. I think I've only seen it once, but I remember the ending specifically. And oh my gosh, I looked it up and I was like, "Wait, that's got Thomas Jane." The Punisher. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
This man actually stabbed Kevin Nash.
Yes. Yes, he did.
Like, thinking it was a fake knife and actually stabbed Kevin Nash.
And Nash took it and was like, "Keep going." Like you could actually see the cut in the film. They kept it in because of it.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. I don't know how I follow that, but I'm gonna try. Um, that's a good movie. Man. There's a few movies that really ticked me off to the point where it's like you can't watch it again after you watch it. It's hard to watch. It's like,
Yeah,
but
it is very hard.
yeah, The Sixth Sense is one of those. Like, that's the reason I've never seen it again since I watched it the first time. It was like, wow. But that one, yeah. I'll say this. I'm gonna flip it over to a little TV and I'm gonna mix it. Because I want to talk about I'm gonna talk about this one very, very shortly. Do you remember the TV show How I Met Your Mother?
No.
All right, so the series went for 9 seasons, and it was about this guy telling his kids a story about how he met their mom, and they would change the names in the story, so they're not the names in the actual sitcom aren't the names, but so they literally go through all this whole thing and they introduce the mom in like the last season or the last 2 seasons or whatever season. I think it was the end of the series or the end of the season 8 and then season 9. And they do this all just to let her die of cancer in the last episode.
Yeah, and she's literally only in it for like 2 episodes.
Yeah, and it really ticked me off the way that they finished this series, and I was like,
It's the worst thing ever.
yeah, because it's such a beloved series. I love it. It's got so many great actors in it, and like, Jason Segel's in it, Neil Patrick Harris, Allison Hannigan. Bob Saget was the voice of the older Josh Radnor character, Ted Mosby, and like it's just like you took a beloved series and did that. That's like what they did with Seinfeld, the way they ended Seinfeld, which I can't stand Seinfeld, but everybody else loved it. But they literally, the last episode, because of their douchebaggery over the years, they got thrown in prison. They got sentenced to jail, all of them. Like, what the heck? Like, oh, but yeah, those 2 series, like, really, well, that one, I can't forget that. I know a lot of people say that because I never watched this series and I don't plan on it, but Lost, they said, ended really horribly. But I just never would bring myself to watch it. But now that I said that, I want to throw in my 2 cents on the game side. You guys know how I feel about a certain game because I've talked about it in a previous podcast, and that's Far Cry 5. Far Cry 5's ending was just absolute dog trash to me. It literally left me speechless to the point where I was like, this is ridiculous.
You gotta get over it, man. You gotta let it go.
I can't.
I let it go.
All right. Well, here's one that I'm going to talk about that is going to be the one that's going to be the bulk of my talk for now, is Final Fantasy X.
Oh, there we go. That's
Final
something I haven't really played, so yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, Final Fantasy X, it has the character Titus and the love interest, which is Yuna. And so I know Flerp knows what I'm talking about because I know he's played it. The biggest
Many moons ago.
The biggest upset about the whole thing is finding out the villain, Sin, was just a big turtle. But after you defeat Sin and completing this mission, Titus suddenly he just realizes that he's actually not human. And after that, he has to go back to his world. And you get the hugs from Yuna behind, and all, it's just like, it's so heart-wrenching to see the hero of the story have to go back, but he went back and he did like a high five to his long lost dad, Jecht, and the game basically ends. And that moment was just so horrible for me. Like it's not up there like in terms of Final Fantasy VII, when Aerith dies, but it was just but then that spawned a sequel to Final Fantasy X, which was Final Fantasy X-2, where they're on the search for Titus. So, I never played it because I don't like the game style of it, but that game had so much to offer to it. I loved the Blitzball that was in there, the mini games you could play and go into tournaments and seasons and play underwater Blitzball, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. But as much as I gotta say, the end of that game was masterful. Like, it was powerful because when he left, you're just like left with tears in your eyes, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, he realized that he wasn't actually, human, and he's from another alternate world, and he had to go back there, and it was really hard to swallow, and then I was so psyched when 10-2 came out, and then I had a buddy of mine, I watched him play a little bit of it, and I was like, dude, I don't even like the interaction with the game. I think I should, just to complete the story, play it, because from what I understand, Titus does come back. So
no, he doesn't.
He doesn't? I thought somebody told me he did.
There's a character that looks and sounds just like Titus, but it's not. But no, that's Final Fantasy Fashion Show. It was the most mid-tier Final Fantasy game that was ever released.
That's his actual name?
That's all I'll say on it.
Actually called it.
No, it's
Final
Final
Fantasy.
Fantasy X-2, but it's literally just Final Fantasy fashion show.
Yeah.
You
Man.
just all the characters are divas that the different classes they just change their outfits, and it's whichever most people just go with whatever most attractive outfit they can find in the game. And then they stick with that one. If anybody changed Payne's original outfit, you had a problem. But
You're
I mean,
darn right.
Payne was pretty much the Lulu of Final Fantasy X too. But that's just kind of where that lies. But yeah, it was a mid-tier game. A lot of people think it was really good, but the masses think it was really bad. So
Look, I own it because I bought it when it came out, when it was remastered on PlayStation 3. I got it in the
Oh, yeah.
10 and 10-2 bundle. But I've
Yeah.
never, and I don't ever plan on playing 10-2. I never have. Like that's not my Final Fantasy 10. My Final Fantasy 10, it's bad enough he fights a turtle. But at least the story was great. Like that story, if I was to have to place Final Fantasy X on my top, like on my list of Final Fantasy games, it would probably be. Let's see, I have a big. 7's always gonna be my favorite, but 10 and 8 and 9 are all so good. So it's like those would flip flop. I think I'd have to put 10 probably second, probably either 10 or 8. Even though I love 9, 8 was really good and introduced a card game into it too. So but yeah, that game just will always be cemented into my heart, and it's like oh, down the road we're gonna do a Final Fantasy episode, and we're gonna talk about all this stuff then. But for now, we'll leave it at this, But yeah, carry on. Flerp, what's your next and probably final one to put in?
All right, so this is going to be the final one that I talk about. I'm going to talk about a movie that neither one of you have seen.
Are you sure?
I've recommended it, but I don't think either one of you have watched it yet.
Dude, I don't watch porn.
That's fair. But I'm going to talk about one of my personal favorite movies. It's a movie called Odd Thomas. I have brought this movie up actually previously on the podcast while we're talking about good movies. I think it was actually in the first one when we talked about our favorite movies. But this one stars Anton Yelchin, I think is how you pronounce his name.
Yes, it's Yelchin. Yeah, I remember you talking about this.
And this movie basically follows a character named Odd Thomas, and he's exactly that. He's odd in terms of the fact that he's able to see dead people. He's not allowed to. He can't hear them. But basically, he sees these like dead children and just other people, and he tries to. They give him hints so that way he can kind of solve what happened to them. But also on the same hand, there's these other things that are called Bodaks. And basically what those are is they only show up when really bad shit is about to happen. And if you see one of them, it normally means that someone's about to die. If you see a lot of them, it means that like catastrophic events are about to happen.
Endgame.
Well,
Yes.
he goes to he's just at work and his girlfriend Stormy comes in and everything's fine, and all of a sudden like 100 of these things walk into his work. Well, other people can see these things, but you're not allowed to let them know that you can see them. Not everybody can see them, but there are other special people that can. The only other person that Odd ever met that could see them ended up dying, because if you let them know that you can see them, they kill you. Well, needless to say, it goes through this entire long thing of people getting killed, and it turns out that at the end of the movie, it's 2 cops that are planning to blow up a mall. And they go in, they have the bomb planted in like the parking garage of the mall, and then they go into the mall and they start shooting people. Well, Odd ends up killing one of them by the security room. And then he actually goes into the mall and he ends up shooting the other one, and this is when they find out that it was the officers. And at the end of the movie, you see that his girlfriend's place of work gets shot up, and you're like, oh my god, Stormy just died. And it's one of the saddest moments ever. And then like he looks over at the shop and she stands up and she just smiles really big, and you're like, oh my god, that was the scariest thing ever. And then it's the happiest ending. It shows them like 6 months in the future, and they're smiling and they're laughing. And then Willem Dafoe, or Dafoe as he pronounces it, I think we all pronounce his name wrong. But
I think he pronounces
he
it
knocks
wrong.
on the door. I'm pretty sure that he doesn't pronounce his own name wrong.
He does to me. It's Defoe. Go ahead.
But Willem Dafoe is basically kind of like Odd Thomas's father figure, but he's also the chief of police. And him and his wife knock on the door and they're like, we need to talk. And he's like, what's going on? And they're like, we need to finally tell you. And they're like, Stormy died that day. And he's like, no, you're wrong. She's right here. And then he turns around and she's in her work uniform covered in blood. And it you didn't think about it, but from the scene where she comes out of the ice cream shop unscathed, she doesn't talk again. She just smiles.
Oh, wow.
What the hell?
And when that scene got played, like I've never felt something like crush me before, but that was probably the second saddest thing I've seen since The Mist. But yeah, that's my
Wow.
that's my big one. It's a movie that I highly I can't recommend it enough. It was made by Steven Sommers and Dean Koontz.
Ooh, Dean
it was
Koontz.
written by-
Ooh.
It's one of the best movies that I think it is the best movie that Anton Yelchin ever made, that he was ever in. Yeah, if you get a chance, just watch it.
Absolutely. It's on my list now for sure.
Oh,
like
man, that is definitely a good recommendation, man.
Like, now that I know the ending, though, like, I'm gonna have to try to wait a few days to watch it so I forget, because
Oh, again, there's a difference between just hearing it and then
and
actually
watching
seeing
and
it
experiencing
too,
it. Yeah, but Oswald,
yeah, it's
Patton Oswald's in it too.
yeah.
Like even after I said the ending of The Mist, I bet a lot of people would probably still go and watch it, and they'd still be absolutely.
Yeah,
Well,
see,
the thing is like
upset.
it's you talked about the ending of The Mist, but you didn't convey how rough that scene actually is.
oh, Tim
Yeah,
Robbins
it
is in
is.
that movie too. Sorry,
It's terrible.
it's got a lot of
It
big
is.
actors in Thomas.
Yeah.
Huh.
What? Yeah. Excellent choice, man. That was a really good one.
I agree.
Well, I saw your message, Phoenix, but I'm gonna ignore that for a second.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna give an honorable mention, and that is The Shining.
Oh my gosh, I was
That
thinking
final part of him being in the photo
yes.
of the ball, it was. Man, that really left me racking my brain for a second.
Oh man, see, I agree. That was
I've always
actually
been the caretaker.
that actually was kind of on my list, but I didn't use it. And I'm glad you did use that as an honorable mention, because let me fun fact about that movie. That movie actually has one spot in it that actually scared the living daylights out of me, and I don't scare easy. I was a kid, don't get me wrong, but
What
it
part
scared me.
you?
the part where he's watching the hot woman get out of the shower, and you're like, oh yeah, and all of a sudden,
Oh, and then she decays.
yes, that got me bad. I was like, oh, like, yeah,
There were a lot of just like there were moments that were like, yeah, like that makes sense, but there were a lot of other moments like the guy and the other guy or the other person in the freaking animal suit.
oh yeah,
Like what's happening?
The
Like
Shining.
reality is falling apart.
And see, we're not talking about The Shining when it comes to like the remake that they did for TV, the miniseries. We're talking about, was it Stanley Kubrick? How do you say his name? Whatever. It was his version of The Shining that came straight from Stephen King, and like that movie with Jack Nicholson was amazing. I was never more scared of twins because of that movie.
All work and no play makes Phoenix a dull boy.
I will be 100% honest. I didn't like The Shining.
Really?
It was super slow paced. It I just found it super boring. Yes, it was made by Stanley Kubrick, but
Kubrick, that's it.
it and of course, it was written by Stephen King and Stanley Kubrick and Diane Johnson. But in my opinion, it wasn't as great as people made it out to be. But it was for the time. For the time period, it was excellent. But
so
in my opinion, Dr. Sleep is better in every single way.
Never seen it.
Which you need to. It's the follow-up to The Shining.
Yeah,
I know.
I know.
It's literally the story about Danny grown up.
Yeah, I know what it is.
And it's directed by Mike Flanagan, who in my opinion is the director of our current time. He made Haunting of Hill House and all of those. If you haven't seen those, just do it. Fall of the House of Usher, Midnight Mass. He's done a lot of things. He did Hush, Oculus, just a bunch of he's the greatest horror director I've ever seen. Definitely worth checking. But
well, I'll say this. Yes, The Shining was slow paced, but it was that way for a reason.
I think that's what added to the charm.
Yes.
I'm not usually a big fan of like super slow paced things, but I think in terms of like The Shining, I think that was one of its greatest strengths, and that's what made it so unnerving.
Man, when he gets lost in that maze at the end, dude. Like, could you imagine coming up on him like in the middle of like winter, somebody come up to check the house and all of a sudden see him in the maze, like, like,
oh yeah.
But it was like, it was the whole slow burn, and how things just completely slowly but very surely fell apart.
Because it helped. It helped believe, like, as he was maddening himself. He was going into this maddened state. That it showed it didn't happen overnight. It was over time, and then it started off as little things, and then it continuously got bigger until he was like, "Here's Johnny,"
And see, I understand that, but I don't feel like the movie needed to be 2.5 hours to convey that.
I guess I could see that, but
I understand that pacing is a thing, but it doesn't need to be 2.5 hours to get your point across.
What about The Shining? Did you like The Shining?
The Shining?
The what?
Are you serious?
Is that an actual spoof movie, or?
Oh my gosh, you guys!
Pulling my leg?
No, it's The Shining because they couldn't get the rights to The Shining. Like,
you got to be fucking kidding me!
No, it's out of The Simpsons. It's during the Treehouse of Horror event. It was The Shining.
Oh, well, okay. All I remember from that was like when he was, "Give me the bat, Marge. Give me the bat. Give me the bat."
I'm over here like, oh gosh, you guys. Oh man.
Scaredy cat. Yeah.
But yeah, every time I think of The Shining, I think of The Shining because it's what is it, the groundskeeper Willie or whatever, he's the one, he's like, it's The Shining. And he like he's like, don't you mean The Shining? He was like, no, we don't have the rights for that. Or something like that. Oh gosh. But yeah, that was a great movie to me. I mean, there's two movies that I know of that have scared me over the years, and Children of the Corn, because of how I grew up in the middle of a cornfield, and The Shining had that one spot in it, so yeah.
It was a mind-boggling ending. It wasn't really mind-boggling. It was just, I don't know. It just left you pondering.
Yeah.
If
It
anything.
was kind of shocking, like he was always the, oh, what do you mean he was always there? He was always the caretaker. What?
He's part of its history now.
Yeah. So
Forever.
I mean, Shelley Duvall played a really good part in that too, like as his wife.
The poor woman was worked to death on that movie.
Oh,
man.
I know.
She was never the same after that. And that's why I just, it was, it's such a complicated movie, but man.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's the honorable mention that stretched out for like an additional, 6, maybe 10 minutes.
What's kind of funny though with Shelley Duvall is that the same year she did The Shining, she did Popeye, so she was olive oil as well. so
Popeye.
Same year she did The Shining, she did Popeye with.
So let's talk
Robin
about
Williams.
Popeye for another 20 minutes.
No. You take it out. Take us out.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Talked about, everything and in between. Man, I'm still now you got my head racking around all these different things that we talked about, so I can't really.
Will be a part
properly.
2.
Well, yeah, there'll probably be a part 2. There is still a lot of media out there that we.
I feel like I feel like when we first picked this topic, nobody really thought of anything, and then as we started talking about it, we're like, oh fuck, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
Like we haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg. We're still in the sky, baby.
Right.
Yeah.
There's so much left unsaid.
Yeah,
But
we're still very much in over the pants handy territory.
Yeah. That is where we're going to have to leave it, though.
Story of my life.
Thanks for joining us on this episode. We've come to the end of our time. If you want to check out anything else about the podcast, links are in the description for the link tree and whatever. And we hope you have a very nice and undumbfoundedly day, because now my brain is a little scrambled. See you guys later, I guess.
I love you.